Hey guys, it's Loves to Loom here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this really awesome Swan Lake bracelet. This was created by Polly_Looms on Instagram. And this is actually a variation of the original Swan bracelet, which was created by Eunice the Loomer on Instagram. And you can find that tutorial on my channel as well. So what we have here is the front side. This is also the front side, but you can see that this one looks a little bigger. And that's because there's two choices you have when you pull it off of the loom. You're either going to loop, there's going to be loose bands when you pull it off the loom. You're going to loop it either up the center there, or like I did on this one, you can loop it up the sides. So the side one makes it a little bit wider, and you can see the inside a little more. This one I did up the middle as well. So at the end, you can definitely decide which one you want to do. It's super easy to change it if you decide you want to, do the other one. So it does take approximately, I'd say like 330 bands or so, depending on your wrist size. I think she did an incredible job. I would definitely have Polly_Looms information in the box below, so you can check her out and give her a follow. And without wasting any more time, let's get started. To make this bracelet, you will need to have a total of 10 bar pins if you want a full wrap. You will have 5 wide, and you want them aligned like so. And then you would just have the next 5 directly in front of it, of course. So if you want that full wrap, you will want to take your bands to the very end of the looms. I'm going to only do probably about 18 rows today, which will be about this size. It's not going to quite fit my wrist, but it does take a while to do this design, so I'm just going to do enough to show you how to make it. Alrighty, so we're going to start by laying our perimeter bands, which it does depend on which design you choose at the end, determines where you will see those bands. So if you do this version, it's going to be this pale pink that's in here, and then you'll also see it on this side, running right here. If you do this version, you see it on, sorry, I'm like so close to the camera. You see it on the sides here where the silver is, and you don't really see it too much on this side. I mean, you see it a little bit, but not a whole lot. So I'm going to use white. So we're going to start by placing one on that center pin for when we close it up. And then if you do like a tighter close, you can certainly use 2 bands there. I'm fine with just using 1. So then we're just going to bring one out to the left from the center and do the same going out to the right. Another one out to the right and another one out to the left. So from that point, we're just going to strictly go all the way up the right side and the left side until you reach the end, or as far up as you're going to go. And I'm just going to kind of toggle back and forth here. So just a simple single chain up the sides. Wow. So as this part is super easy, and as I stated, it does take a little while to make this design. So I'm just going to go ahead and get these laid, and then I'll come right back and we will move forward. Okay, so when you reach as far down as you're going to go, you're just going to bring it in. So on the left, you bring it in twice. And then on the right, you do the same thing. Bringing it into that center. And now we're going to go back to the beginning, and we're going to lay some more single chains. So we're going to lay one going straight up the middle, which is going to be what is blue on this one here. And we're also going to lay a single chain here and here, which is where the white falls on this one here. So I am going to actually stick with white for my middle. And then I'm going to use like a fuchsia for my 2 side ones. Of course, you can use as many colors as you want, but I'm just gonna stick with white for mine, for this one. So you're gonna do that single chain all the way up until you reach the top, and then as I stated, you're going to come to these side ones and do the same thing. So this part as well is super duper easy. So go ahead and get all 3 of your center single chains laid, and I'll come back and show you the next layer. Okay, so once you have all of those center ones laid, come back down to the beginning. Just push them down some. The next color that you're going to want to choose is going to be what is the colors in this one. So all my rainbow colors is what we're going to lay now. You can definitely do as many colors as you'd like. You could even do these center ones, one color, and then these colors here, another. I mean, there's so many possibilities. But just so you know, that's what we're going to lay now. And I'm going to alternate between teal and purple. So we're going to be laying like the shape of an M going left to right. So with my purple, I'm going to start down here. And we're going to bring it up like that. And then we're going to do something like that. And like that. And like that. The next one we're going to lay is going to actually be like a W. And that's going to overlap over top of the purple. And that is going to be the teal, which is here. Or turquoise, I mean. And then the gray that's in there. So I actually chose 2 different colors for this one, but today I'm going to just use all black. So that's just, hopefully you guys can decide what you want to use. So we're going to go from this pin out to the left, from that same pin into the center, from that pin down to this pin, and then from there up. So we're going to start on this pin here. You should always be starting where your W ends. So we're going to go up and connect that last one that you just laid. Bring that one up and then bring this one up. So now we're going to lay our W. So you start from this one here and we're going to cross over the M that we just laid. Going from left to right. Sorry guys about my hand blocking. Like so. Let me see if I can change my camera angle a little bit. Let's see if that view works any better. So now again, you always have to start by laying the M first. So you should start right here where your last band ended, and we're going to bring that up to here. And work left to right, like so. Going back to my black, I will now lay my W, crossing over that. Like so. Going back to laying the M shape, starting here. I know it seems kind of straightforward, or at least I think it does, but you just need to pay attention that you're laying that M first, because out of habit, you want to kind of start here and go out. So don't do that. You always need to lay the M shape first, and then you always cross back with your W. Going to get a little crowded on here, so you're just going to need to keep pushing those bands down. Whoops, shooting rubber bands. that was twisted. I'm not entirely sure if it would make a difference if you laid like a V and then a V this way, but since the directions were shown to me, laying them left to right, I highly recommend just doing that. So we're going to just keep doing this all the way up the loom. I'll do it a few more times before I go off of camera. After you lay that M, don't forget to come back like I'm doing now and cross it with your W. So we're just going to do that all the way up till you reach the very top. Then I'll come back and we will loom it up. Alright guys, I'll be right back. Alrighty, so once you have all of those laid, it should be looking like this now. You're going to just want to push everything down, turn your loom back around so your loom is facing yourself. We're going to be adding 3 cap bands on. So we're going to add one to the very inner 3, pins. And I would recommend just using whatever color is going to be on your border. So just a regular cap band on all 3. Whoops. This one doesn't want to go on. Okay. So now we can go ahead and start looping it up. So we're going to loop it exactly the same way that we laid the bands, going from left to right. So if I refer to the W or the M, take notice that the M's are now the black and the W's are now going to be the colored bands since we turned it around. So we're going to start by looping up this purple W. So go inside this pin here, push back your cap band, grab the top band, and bring it back to itself. Go back in that same pin, grab the top band, bring that back to itself. Oops, go down to this pin here, top band, bring it back to itself, and one more time. Whoops. Bring that back to itself, like so. So once you've done that, we're now going to loop the black bands, so the bands that are facing down. Now these bands, there is not going to be any cap band or anything on them, so it's just going to be loose, and that is supposed to be like that. So you're just going to take it off of the pin and you're just bringing it down like that. Doing the same thing on this pin here, just bringing it down. Over here, bringing it down. And the last one here, bringing it down. So now we're going to go into the center pin here, and we're going to loop the vertical band that we laid first. It's underneath. So I'm going to push back. There's the top two we just laid, then there's the cap band, and then there's the two bottoms of the black one, and then it's the one under that. So push them all out of the way. Make sure you're grabbing the correct one, and you're going to bring that forward like so. And we're going to do the same thing to these side pins here, or the inner side pins. Push back the cap band, grab that vertical band, and bring it forward. And we're going to do that here. Just bring that forward like so. So now we are going to loop these perimeter bands, but only on this row. So we're going to push back in the center, grab the top band, bring it to your left, if you laid them in the same order that I did. Go back in, bring it out to the right. Go back in this pin, bring that to the right. And this one too, to the left. Like so. So before we go any further, we actually need to come back to this center pin. Now that we have this bottom row looped, we need to grab the band that we brought forward on that pin, and you're going to place it back on here for now, because we're not going to loop those bottom bands on that center until the very end. So just make sure you have taken that one off, and now we can continue. We will not be looping the perimeter bands over here until we have done one more row. So we're going to start by looping out our W. So we're going to start by going into this left one, bringing it up to the left, up to the right, coming on this pin, doing the same thing, up to the left, and up to the right. Like so. And now we're going to loop the M bands. So again, there's nothing on them right now. You're just going to grab it and bring it down back to itself. Same thing here, bringing it down. Over here, bringing that down. And here. Like so. So now that we have those looped out, this is where we're going to actually come back down here so that we can loop these side perimeter bands. And we're not going to loop them back to themselves. We're going to bring them here to this pin. So I'm just going to start on the right here. You're going to push back the top bands. Grab the very bottom. And stretch that up here. Like so. We're going to do that same thing on this one. Grab it. Bottom band, stretching it up to this one here. Like that. After you do that, we're basically going to be going into our next section. So you're going to go inside that same pin, bring that band forward, doing the same thing on this one, bring it forward. And now we can start looping out our W's and M's again. So we'll go in that cap band, bringing the W bands all back to themselves. Like so. Now we'll do our M black bands. So we're going up here, bringing those down. As you can see, all of the black bands, which I'm calling the M bands, they all get brought down. And back to themselves. I'm getting a little horsey, so don't mind my voice, sorry. So once we've looped out our W and M's, we are now going to do the perimeter. So the row that you're on looping your M bands, you will always go one more row down for your perimeter. So move all of those bands out of the way, grab your perimeter band, connect it here. Do the same thing on the left. Connect it there. It should always match up with that band that is going to go forward. So go inside, grab this band here, loop it up, and loop it up. And again, we are now on our next section. So we're going to loop up our W bands back to themselves. Now going to our M bands, bringing them down. After you bring them down, you always want to go down one pin, grab that bottom band to do the perimeter. And we're going to do that again. Going forward, onto our next section. At first it might seem like a little confusing, but once you do a few rows, you'll definitely get the hang of what you're doing. Now back to the M bands, bringing them down. And if you do start getting the hang of things and decide to stop watching and just kind of go with it on your own, make sure you come back to watch the end, because it will not be finished once you take it off of the loom. There's one more step at the end that we have to do. Doing our perimeter band now. And back at our starting point for the next section. Go back a pin. Don't forget to get that perimeter band. So I'm just going to keep on looping it up, and you guys can certainly just follow along, and I'll do like a couple rows just to kind of make sure you guys got the swing of things. Where did I leave off? And also remember, if you I had a brain cramp. If you do go ahead of me, just remember that we need to loop the middle band on this bottom row at the end. So also make sure you do that, or stick around for that part too if you get ahead of me. am very interested in seeing the color renditions and what you guys do with this design. So don't forget to tag me if you do make this. And also tag Polly Looms. Okay, so that is what you do. I'm going to go ahead off and finish up the length, and then when I reach the top, I'll come back and show you what to do next. If you have any problems at all, watch the previous instructions, and don't go anywhere because I don't want you to forget to loop the bottom band on the middle row. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, so I am near the top of my loom, so I just want to do this part on camera with you guys. The last thing that I did was just looped up these middle ones here. So now I'm off to do my next section of W's. So we're just going to do this part the same as we've done before. And now bring down your M bands like we've been doing. Now go in and get your perimeter band over here. Bring that up. And now we're going to bring this band here forward. This band here forward. And now we're going to go in this pin here, push it back and grab that perimeter band as well, and bring that up. And do the same on this pin here, grab the perimeter band, which is the bottom band, and bring it up. Like so. Now we can go into these side ones and bring them in. So you're just grabbing the bottom, bringing them in. And do the same on this side. Like so. So remember, we now need to go back to the beginning. So this is what your loom should look like all the way down. So come down to the beginning, because now we need to loop the middle bands on the center row, because if you took it off right now, it would all fall apart, and we don't want that. So I already have my middle band here from before that we put back on, so I'm just going to grab that, place it back on. Now there are a lot of bands on these center pins here, so you just want to be careful and make sure that you're getting inside all of them. Grab that very bottom one. It's going to be some tension, and just bring it forward. As you're pulling up, I just would do it kind of slow so you don't snap that band, because like I said, there is a lot of tension. So do that until you reach the very, very top, and then I'll come back and show you what to do next. So at this point, you're going to want to grab the band that is back here. Push back all the bands. Be careful. And this is where you're going to attach your C-clip. If you have two hooks though, I would just slide it down like that. Make sure you go down pretty far so you don't lose anything. And I only recommend that because once we pull it off of the loom, we're going to have to, you're going to have to decide which one you want to do. Do you want to do the borders up the sides, or do you want to do it in the center? So I just would rather do that so I don't have to hook and then unhook the C-clip, but it's up to you. Don't rip your bracelet off of the loom. I do not recommend it. It's just this type of bracelet, I think you need to use your hook to do it. So go ahead and take it off the loom, and then I'll come back and show you how to finish it off. Okay guys, so when you take it off of the loom, this is what this side's going to look like. And you may need to just pull out these center bands some. They get tucked in from pulling it off of the loom with all the tension. And you might want to do the same thing in the center on this side. So otherwise, you're going to see a lot of loose bands laying on this side. Basically, you're going to determine which version you want to do. If you want to do it with the border on the sides like this one, you're going to want to pull all of your bands out like I've started doing on this one. Like that, so they're sticking out so we can loop those up. If you're going to do it with the chain in the center, you do the same thing except you pull them all out in the center so that it's easy to just go ahead and loop it up. And you may not be very particular, but depending on how you're pulling the loop through, this stitch, this chain can look different. I like how it has a little like swirl look to it, opposed to it being like open and loose. So in order to achieve that, on the right side here, I'm going to start at the very first loop, and I'm going to go in like this. And now I'm going to kind of put my bracelet sideways a little bit. So I went up through that first band. With my hook facing like this, I'm going to grab the top of the band by going inside of the loop, like that. And I'm going to just pull it, whoops. Just going to pull it down and then back up. Going inside of the loop and grabbing it. I kind of turn my hook to swoop it down and then up. So going in the loop to grab it, swooping it down. By doing that, it creates a little swirl, going in the loop, swirling it down. This is why it definitely helps to have them pulled out. In the loop, whoops. So you would do that all the way up. Like so. And you would loop the same. If you're doing it in the center, you would loop it up just like I'm looping it up here, like that. So you would do that to the very top. So by doing so, it created that nice little chain there on the side. So whoops. So what I'm going to do, you could stretch it and attach it to that band there, but I didn't like how that looked. So what I did for this version is I grabbed this top purple band right here, and I just pulled that through. And I know it's not the same color, but I just didn't like how it looked by attaching that. So for now, so I don't have to undo everything, I'm just going to add that on my hook. and we'll deal with that in a little bit. So for the border looping, when you come around to the left side, you're going to want to turn your bracelet kind of sideways like this, because if you loop it this way, the loops are not going to match that side. So you would want it facing this way, and you're going to bring your hook coming up like this for the first time, and then you're going to go inside the next loop and grab onto it and bring it down and then back up. And you'll just keep going inside the next loop, but you want to be going from this direction so that the loops go the same way on each side. And we'll do that all the way up. Almost there. Okay. So now what we're going to want to do is we need to pick up one of these purple bands. I mean, you can just add this in with these ones, but I don't like how far of a stretch it is. So if you're facing the direction that I am, it's going to be the purple band closest to the back here. So I'm just going to pick that up, and I'm going to pull that through the band like so. Now I'm going to turn it around. So what we need to do is now get these two purples onto the front white one here. So I'm just going to sit this down and make sure I don't lose it. Let me push it up on my hook so I don't lose it. So I'm going to grasp these two and carefully hold, or these three bands, carefully holding them, making sure not to let anything go. It's pretty tight in there, so you shouldn't lose anything. And we need to make sure you do not lose that back band there. You can even put a C-clip on it just to help block it from falling through. So we're going to come from inside this purple band, grab a hold of the white one, and very gently just push that purple band over it, like that. You don't want to tug on this white band because you don't want it to pull out of the back. It will make everything fall apart and you'll be so mad at me. Alright, so we need to do the same thing on this side. So I'm just going to keep my hook in and grab this white band so I don't lose anything like that. Again, don't lose the back part of that white band. And now we're going to do the same thing. Just grab that purple band and bring it over your hook, locking it in. And I'm sorry if that part was not very clear as far as on the video. It was kind of hard to not block the view. So bring your two whites together now, and that's where you will attach your C-clip. Make sure you got around both of them. So that is how you do the border. And if you want it down the center, like this one, you do the exact same thing, except instead of putting it on the outside, you would just put it on the inside. And then you do the same steps up here, except you don't need to grab that purple band because the black band doesn't need to stretch. So instead of the purple being on that white band, your two last black ones would go there. So there you have it. That is the complete Swan Lake bracelet created by Polly_Looms on Instagram. She really did a great job on this. I'm absolutely in love with it. I think it's super cute. And it's just so clean and sleek. And yeah, so again, this is a variation though of Eunice the Loomer's Swan bracelet, which is also on my channel, so you can look that up as well. So if you do like this bracelet, please hit the like button below. Also tag myself loves to loom as well as Polly_looms if you make this. I'd love to see your rendition of it. I think it has so many possibilities. Super cute. So alrighty guys, I do appreciate you watching. It's been a long night and I do appreciate all your support, and I'll see you at my next video. Bye!